Notes for August. Right, let's start off with speaking ordinal numbers. All right, so what are ordinal numbers? Ordinal numbers are modified numbers that show the position of someone or something in a series or in an order. Right, so like example 1, 2, and 3, these are just numbers, they are just regular numbers. However, ordinal numbers are first. Right, so first, that signifies number one. So instead of saying number one, you say first, second, third, similarly fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, and 10th. So these are known as ordinal numbers. Right, they signify or they show the position of someone or something in a series or in an order. All right, so how do you use these ordinal numbers? So my parents have two children. I am the first, my sister is the second. Right, so I am the first. That means I am the first child. I am number one. My sister is the second. She is number two. So instead of saying I am number one, she's number two, you say I am the first, she is the second. Right, so ordinal numbers make your task easier and faster. Right, so I am the first child of my parents. So instead of saying I am the number one child, or I was born in the I was born number one, and after that I had two brothers and whatever. Instead of making such a long story, you just simply state that I am the first child of my parents. Similarly, dates over here. So you write August 27th, but that's how you write it. That's not how you read it. So you read it August the 27th. Right, so or the 27th of August depends on which style you're using the US style or the UK style, right? So you speak it. If someone asks you the date, what is the date today? You tell them today is the 27th of August, or today is the 30th or the 31st of August, right? Or August the 31st. So you always use ordinal numbers when you read or you speak out a date. So that's another way of using ordinal numbers. You never say today is August 27th. No. You say today is August the 27th or today is the 27th of August. Okay, so as you're speaking, so getting used to and understanding some questions. All right, so question one was how do you measure success? Do you consider it in terms of material gains, positions, security, or happiness? So what are material gains, right? More things that you have, things, cars, whatever, travel, right? That is also sort of a material gain these days, right? So that's what they're talking about. Position is your rank in society or your rank in life. Who are you? How big are you in your society, in your community, in your country, whatever. So that is the position. That's what they mean by position. Security is safety. How secure is your lifestyle? How secure is your family? How secure is the place that you live in? How likely is it to carry on? And happiness as well. Happiness, right? Okay, so that's how these questions are framed. So now we're just getting used to the questions, right? So that's how these questions are designed or framed or whatever you want to call it. You just have to get a bit used to their style of questioning. Question number two says, life is a risk, it's a choice. It's a choice between really living or merely existing. What's the meaning of that? So life is a risk, it is a choice, right? So it's a choice between what? Between really living or merely existing. So merely existing is just being there, barely being there, right? And leisure is free time, enjoying times, all right. So although that's got nothing to do with the question, but I don't know how it came here. It came here somehow. Anyway, no problems. So that's that. Okay, let's go on to part B, vocabulary, spelling, and pronunciation. Number one, personality. The way a person is, the way a person usually behaves is their personality or your personality if you're talking about yourself. Entertainer, person entertains either for fun or for a living. So it's usually for a living. A person who entertains for a living is known as an entertainer. Funny man is a person who's always making jokes, cracking jokes, making people laugh. Again, comedian is a person who makes jokes either for fun or for a living, but usually it's for a living. Again, part time is not full time. A job that is not the main job but a side job is part time. Audience is people watching a show, a performance, or a match is known as the audience. Fortnight is 2 weeks. Experiment is try out something whose results you are not sure of. So that is experiment. Verb. Leisure, things a person does to relax, like leisure time, leisure activity. Habit, how a person lives or does things. That is something that they automatically do, is their habit. Purpose, why someone does something, the aim of doing something is known as the purpose. Describe is say something with details. Popular, something someone that is or who is liked by many people is popular. Like you have popular TV shows, you have popular movies, you have popular cars, something like that, right? Prefer, something that you like more than something else. Like what do you prefer? Would you prefer a pizza or would you prefer a sandwich for dinner? Right, what would you like more for dinner tonight? So pizza or a sandwich, right? So used to be is was. He used to be a doctor before he retired. So he was a doctor before he retired. For a living means job or your work. Board is climb or get onto a ship, train, or plane. That is board a plane. I am boarding a plane. She's boarding a train. They are boarding a ship, right? So they are getting on board. On board is on a ship, plane, or train. I am on board. You are on board. She is on board. Voyage. A journey by ship is known as a voyage. Peace and quiet. Number 20. An atmosphere that is silent. That is not noisy. Route or route. The way to go to some place. That is known as the route. Which way are you going to? Suppose you want to go to a particular destination, there can be 2 or 3 different ways of going there. So that, which route will you take? Right, so that is routes. Accommodation, a place to live or rest, like your house is your accommodation. Suppose you go to college, university, where you will be staying, that will be your accommodation. Dining room, room where you take your meals. Overnight is for the entire night. Suppose you go to your friend's house and you stay overnight. That means you stay there the entire night. That is overnight. Summary, short version of a story is a summary. 26. Serve yourself. Help yourself, take your own food. That is, there aren't any waiters, so you have to serve yourself. Wedding anniversary. The day someone got married is their wedding anniversary. So this is again ordinal number 25th. Wedding anniversary. That means they have been married for 25 years. So they got married on this day 25 years ago. Right, so 25th. Again, ordinal number 25 times, the same thing has happened. Right, so that is 25th ordinal number. 30, anniversary. 1 year since something happened. So it's been a year since that thing occurred. So that is known as the anniversary. Suppose your birth anniversary. In short, you call it your birthday, right? But that is actually your birth anniversary. So 32, 13th birthday. So, or you're also known as your 13th birth anniversary. Again, you write August 10, but you don't speak or you don't read August 10. You read the 10th of August or August the 10th. Right. Number 34, introduce. Make yourself. So yourself known with someone or familiar with someone or something. That is introduce. Introduction is the noun, introduce is the verb. 35, conclude. Finish something like an essay, a story, a speech, or a movie. That is concluded. Conclusion, the finishing of something, the ending or final result of something. That is the conclusion. So conclude, 35 is a verb. Conclusion, 36 is a noun. 37, accept. Means not included, not inclusive of, not there, right? So accept. 38, indoors or indoor. Inside a house or a building or a room, indoor. Not outside, inside. Beside is next to. Lift means elevator. Conversation, when 2 people are talking, that is a conversation. They are having a conversation. Right, 42. Hardly, not much at all, hardly. Keen is when you're interested in something, when you're excited about something, you are keen about it. Right, so he is keen about football, or he's keen in football, right? So that means he's interested in football. Not keen is the opposite, not interested, not excited. Perhaps, maybe, it's perhaps. 46, it's a phrase, it's a question of something, it depends on something. So you say it's a question of being grown up. Right, 47, it's a question of being grown up. It depends whether or not someone is old enough or someone is grown up to do something. It could be driving, it could be something like that. So it's a question of being grown up. So sit down with someone means talk to them about something nicely and properly. Discuss something with them. Right. So that means you sit down with them and you discuss something, some problem, some issue. That is known as sitting down with them or having a sit down. 49. What signs are you looking for? So that means what things do you need or what things do you think I should do or somebody else should display or somebody else should portray. So what signs are you looking for? Discuss. Talk about something in detail with someone else. That is discuss. That sounds reasonable. That sounds fair. That sounds all right. It's not too expensive. It's not too cheap. It's not too good. It's not too bad. It's fair. 52. Go to town. That means go to the main shopping center, the main business district, the main business area of the town or city. Go to town, into town, in town. Right, like downtown. That means going to town, going into town, or going to town. Both are equally correct. For 53, quality food. Good food that is not junk food or good food and high nutrition or high nutritional value. That is quality food, quality items. 54, after setting off from Scotland. After starting from Scotland. 55 is event. Event is something that happens or takes place, like a wedding. That is an event. Region is like an area. A big area is like a region. Author, the person who wrote the book or the story or the essay is the author of that book, story, or essay. 58, describe, so say something in detail. Right. Persuade, encourage someone to do something is to persuade them. Unusual is not usual, different. Londoner is a person from London. Advise, something that is good for you, is good advice. Advice is a noun. Advise is a verb, but this is a noun. 63. Salesman or saleswoman, person who sells things. If it's a man, you call it a salesman. If it's a woman, you call it a saleswoman. But now there is another term that is salesperson. Right, so now sometimes you can't use salesman, saleswoman anymore. Sometimes you have to use salesperson. Okay, 64. Abroad, in or to another country. So he has gone abroad. That means he's gone to another country. He is abroad. That means he is in another country. Interrupt, disturb someone while they're talking or speaking, working, etc. That is interrupt them. Journey, a trip, especially a long trip, is a journey. A short trip is not a journey. Suppose you go from your house to the mall or to the supermarket, that is not really a journey, it's just a trip. Right, but if you're going a long way, that is a journey. Actual is real. Teenager is someone who is between 13 and 19 years old. Adult, a person who is 18 years old or older, or in some countries it's 17, depends where you are. Right, differ, not the same, having differences or with differences. So they differ. That means they have differences. They are not the same. 71. Caffeine, the main ingredients or the main component of coffee is ingredient is not correct. The main component of coffee is caffeine. That's what keeps you awake. 72. Reserved, already booked. I have reserved a table for two. I have already booked a table for two. Well known is something or someone who is known by many people, is well known. And least known is something or someone that is not very well known. That is least known. So something or someone who or that. Let me put that over here. So that or who is known by many people. Something or someone that is known by only very few people or by no one at all. Right, it's least known. Right. Halfway through is when you are in the middle of something. That means you are halfway through that activity. Right to the end means right until the end of that activity is right to the end. I found it. Suppose you say, I found it interesting. That means you thought it was interesting. Or I found it disgusting. So you felt disgusted rather, when you suppose you bought some new noodles or you went to a new restaurant and you found it disgusting. You did not feel very good about it. So appears to be, it looks like or seems like is appears to be. Fast moving is something that moves very fast is known as fast moving. Suppose it's a rocket, it's a fast moving rocket, so it moves very fast, it goes very fast, so that's an adjective, fast moving. Complete attention means your 100% focus is complete attention. Other parts of the world means in different areas and countries, right? So other parts of the world. In search of a new life, that means you go somewhere else for a better life. So they went west in search of a new life. That means they traveled west so that they could find a better life. True story is a real story particularly interested in. That means very interested in that. Right. If you're particularly interested in, say, reading sci-fi books, so that means you're very interested in that. Unusual life means a life, a life that is not usual and is different from a regular or a normal life. Has now turned to means that before they did something else, but now that person is doing something else. Suppose the author has now turned to writing short stories. So perhaps the author before used to write long stories or novels, but now he has turned to writing short stories. That means now he writes short stories. A moving story is a story that touches your heart, is a moving story. The amount of sleep, so that's how sleep is talked about and measured. You don't say how many you sleep. You say the amount of sleep that you need depends upon your age, right? The amount of sleep. Ought to is must. Have to is also needs to or must. Sleeping habits, the way people sleep is their sleeping habit. Immediately before, right before something is immediately before. Earlier than usual or normal is before the time something usually occurs or happens. Later than usual or normal, after the time something usually occurs or happens, right? So that day I woke up earlier than usual. Suppose you usually get up at 6 o'clock, but that day you got up at 5:30 or 5:15. So you can say that day I got up earlier than usual. Right. Can be collected is can be taken. Look for is search or seek. Odor is smell, especially a bad smell, although it's used for good smells as well. Odor, but usually you use it for bad smells. But you can use it for a good smell as well. Usually, good smells are fragrant. Right, so they're fragrance. Odor is usually a bad smell, but even if you use odor for a good smell, it cannot be given wrong. And finally, we have 98 deodorants, a thing that removes or hides bad odors, like usually a spray. So, like you use deodorant. Right, so that's it for August notes. A lot of vocabulary and a lot of and many sort of phrases and terms and terminologies, ought to, must, all that stuff. So please watch this video again, write down your notes, and I'll see you in the next one.